This is called One Power by Daniel Nemad. One power, one power, one power. It's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. It's one power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. It's as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baula, angel's wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in our hearts we're all the same. Remember as we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baula, Hashem, or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, and it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth and Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. Oh, it's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. One power, one power, one power. It's the moment of creation. It's the everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby in the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon for its love that's most deep. It's one power. Oh, it's one power.
thank you, Lainey. Thank you for that. It's the one power, it's the one love, it's the one presence. That's what it's all about, and that's all that there is, and that's what we teach and practice, being as that one power. So good morning. Welcome to CSLDallas, the Center for Spiritual Living. We're so grateful that you are connected and being spiritually inspired with us this morning. We are a community that's all about being radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, and transforming lives. And just a huge shout out to you, no matter where you are here in the Dallas Metroplex or however far away you are. We're grateful that you're here. If this is your 1000th time or your first time, we're really grateful that you're here. So let's move into that place where we all know that I am.
The strength of God is in my life. I am strong.
And so as we go within to that place where we touch the infinite power and presence, the one life, the one power. That one life, that one power that is love, that is the impulse of creation, that is joy ever expanding, that is abundance overflowing, that is the peace that passes all understanding. It is the beauty and order, harmony and wholeness. It is the very wellspring of creation. It is the I that I am, that great I am, the presence, the universal impulse of life and love. Spirit, the one, God, Jesus, Buddha, Lord. And because we know that there is only one power, everything and all of creation is an expression of that one power, is the place where that one power pours itself out into creation. So much more than just its creation. And right where we are, right where I am, right where each one of us is that life. And it is that life awakening to itself. And so what I know this morning, and what I accept and realize for each and every person, for every place where self-awareness is arising. In that place, right there, the universal is awakening to itself as each one of us. That the very truth of our being isn't just that we're human, but that we are the divine made manifest, that we are the incarnation of the universal, and that we are expressing and experiencing and becoming more than the universal would be without each one of us. And so this morning I realized that this is the truth. And that as each one of us awakens and is aware of this truth, we multiply that awareness. And it grows and it grows and it lifts consciousness as a whole. So that humanity is awakened. So that the planet is awakened. So that the galaxy is awakened. So that all of creation is awakened to its beauty, its joy, its love, its abundance, its wholeness. And in that awakening, our lives are fulfilled. And a world that works for everyone is fulfilled. And as I know this truth for each and every one of us, I know the I that I am is the great I am. The presence of life as me, as each one of us. Knowing that this is the truth, I know that it is already rippling out through the universal law, making it so. Grateful, I let it be, and so it is. I am, you are, we are. We are CSLDallas, and collectively we are a community that is sharing the science of mind with each other and with the world. Your generous donations make a difference. Everything that you do supports all the programs and services that we are providing, both online and now slowly but surely, little bits in here, little bits and pieces in person in any way and shape that we can. So everything that you donate, everything that you give makes a difference and says to us that you are being fed by what we have to offer. So please donate and donate generously. You can donate on CSLDallas.org and click the Donate Now button. You can click the Facebook donate button, or you can text to the number on your screen, set it up once, and then today and any day, you can text your donation to CSL Dallas. It makes a difference. Your gifts, no matter how large or small, all make a difference. We accept that together and collectively, we are, in fact, healing and lifting consciousness together. So in the state of consciousness of the fourth stage, as me, here's Lainey Bernstein, I am light.
This song is called I Am Light by India Arie. The things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that caused me pain. I am not the pieces of the dreams I left behind. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light, I am light. Sing it with me. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age, I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. All light. We are light, we are light. We are light, we are light. I am light, I am light. You are light, I am light. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all.
I am light. I'm not my skin, I'm not the color of my eyes, I'm not the age that I am. I am light, and that light is as me.
Yeah, thank you, Lainey Bernstein, for that amazing work with the India Ari song, I Am Light. And so we're coming to the last of our stages of spiritual growth and development, this fourth level of consciousness. And it's the stage as me. Life happens as me. And as always, there's a portal to get into and fully embrace the fourth stage. And the portal is the portal of transformation. The portal of transformation. And so it's interesting to think about what transformation means and how often we use the term transformation and change almost synonymously, right? Transformation we think of as just sort of a big change. But there's actually something very different about change and transformation. Change implies that things are moving, they're changing, there's constant change. You can change and you can change back, right? Which is also a great thing that you can change, you can make a decision and you can decide, nah, not so much, and you can change back. There's also, we have those moments of brilliant enlightenment on a weekend retreat or some, moment, earth-shattering moment, and then 3 weeks later or 6 months later, we find ourselves right back where we were before. So change is important, it's empowering, it's necessary, it's a part of the whole process. But transformation is something different. Transformation is actually a metamorphosis from one state of being into another. It's actually a complete change of identity and state of being. Once a transformation has taken place, a true transformation has taken place, there's no going back. And the state of being and the identity is really completely different, almost unrecognizably different than what it was before.
Yeah, and we can look in nature. There are some examples of that. One of the most popular ways of really truly talking about that is there's a caterpillar. And that caterpillar is truly this thing that's walking across the ground and all that. And then all of a sudden it goes through this transformation, this incredible metamorphosis, and it becomes a butterfly. And that butterfly cannot go back ever to that caterpillar. We were talking and we were thinking of other examples. So there's a tadpole, right? And that tadpole transforms into a frog. And that frog can't go back to being a tadpole.
Well, and also the frog is appreciably different.
Very different.
Right? Whereas a kitten turns into a cat. It doesn't go back to being a kitten, but it's recognizably the same animal. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So this is the kind of transformation that we're talking about in this portal. So I'm curious, Peter, can you identify a moment in your life where this transformation took place? Like, what was the moment?
There wasn't one. And I think that I spent a lot of time looking for one, but there wasn't one. I think too many of us wait for that sort of blinding flash, that instant, all of a sudden we're catapulted into something different. We're being somebody different. I certainly did. And I did not have any of that kind of blinding flash where I was so different in a moment.
Well, I think there's an expectation. I know when many of us get into deep spiritual work and on that spiritual path and that journey, I think there's an expectation. I do, that, hey, there's going to be this cataclysmic aha, moment, mountaintop, burning bush, whatever, and all of a sudden everything changes. So you didn't have that. So what did you have? I mean, well, first,
I had a lifetime of practice.
Okay.
Right.
And so would you say that you have transformed?
Yeah, I would say I have transformed in many ways, in many, many areas of my life, in ways where I am unrecognizably different than I was before. Have I transformed so completely that I've turned pink and transcended? Well, apparently not. Apparently there's still more work to do on that front. But yeah, I would say that an example of that for me is I can remember when I first got into science of mind. I was 18. I was basically 17, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
And I spent the first 4 years in the office of the minister who was my mentor. Every time I was in his office, without fail, I was sobbing over the state of my relationships. And I was talking about how they sucked and how bad they were, and it was always the other person's fault, and if they could only be different, and how terrible and horrible and awful it was. And occasionally we might talk about some spiritual thing, or we might talk about my family, or we might talk about whether or not I needed work, but it was my relationships over and over and over, and it was a sob story. Oh, you want to talk about a soap opera? I was living it. And as we talked about this talk, it's really astonishing how that is completely different in my life today. Absolutely, completely different. So when I'm working with my prayer partners, the state or quality of my relationship is never a conversation, and it's never about the other person. Right? It's about me, and it's about what I'm doing and my life and where I am, cause it myself. It's like it is so transformed. I can't even make up what I used to say. It's so foreign to me now. That is the kind of transformation that a lifetime of practice will do, and that each one of us can have.
When we were talking, it's like you're transformed because you never forget that you're a spiritual being. Like that is the transformation. Like you never forget that you're a spiritual being and that you're causal.
Yeah, that's the big piece for me, right? That
That's
I'm
the transformation.
always at cause.
Yeah.
Always. 100%, no questions asked.
Okay. So Ernest Holmes tells us that what transformation must ensue, what changes of consciousness must take place before that is finally brought about, the finite has not yet grasped. The finite has not yet grasped, but through the whispering of divine intuition, we know that even though we now see as through a glass darkly, we shall someday behold reality face to face. We shall be satisfied when we consciously awake in the likeness of that divinity which shapes our ends. So this transformation, it's like you're no longer looking through the glass darkly.
Right. And in various places in my life, that transformation is unalterable now, right? I can't go back anymore. So knowing that I'm a spiritual being and knowing that I am always causal is so anchored in my whole system.
Awesome.
What about you?
Well, interesting. I absolutely know that I spent 23 years in a high performance, high stress, must excel and exceed, and pretty stressed out for 23 years as a sales and marketing executive. And when I made that decision to let that career go and go into ministerial school, I did that full time. No work, let the career go. I said, I quit that career and I went into ministerial school. And for 3 years, I truly, sat on a cushion, they would say. Went to school, sat on a cushion. And my full intention was to learn how to be, because I really knew how to do. Even if I was stressed out while doing it, I knew how to do. And I learned how to be. And it was that presence to be love. And I think I started, the caterpillar went into the cocoon and it went to mush, but I'm not there. It didn't stick. Actually, it didn't stick becoming a minister, because there's a lot of doingness, a lot of doingness in this. And so I've realized, like, I'm still in transformation.
Yeah.
I really am still in transformation, and I've only been studying and practicing the science of mind for 14, 15 years.
Right.
Whereas you've been doing it 40,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it was really wonderful to have this conversation
Yes.
about this so that I understood it's not like I'm failing,
Right.
right? But I'm still in the transformation of it.
Yeah, and I think that is so important. This portal is the last big portal. It is a gigantic shift in identity where we so identify with the spiritual truth that it becomes our come from place. Unalterably, our come from place. Oh yeah, we might have moments where we fall into a pattern or we forget, but it is unalterably our come from place. That is an internal state of being change. And so we start our sentences with the universe as opposed to with me, myself, me, myself, and I, right? It is as radical a change as the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. And so this is the this can be the longest, most difficult portal for us to go through. And we use our skills that we've learned in stages 2 and 3, and in those portals, we use all of those skills. We bring them all to the portal of transformation.
Yeah, so it's really okay
Yes.
if there aren't a ton of butterflies, right? I mean,
Or that we're butterflies sometimes, or that we're butterflies. We're looking at what it means to be a butterfly.
We're close.
Right. Or that
So
we're a
it's
butterfly in
right.
some area of our life and not in every
All.
area,
Yeah.
right? And so I think, I think this is the one we have to be the most patient about and the most persistent. And there's something so beautiful when we give ourselves permission for that.
Yeah.
The cocoon process is long and it's painful, and they say the whole caterpillar liquefies and then the head pops off, which I always think is very metaphorically powerful. And then it all has to rebuild in an entirely different way. And all that takes time. And so the identity that we move into is no longer, oh, I am one with God, or that I have to unite myself with the divine or the oneness. It's that I am one, and that we are one, and that there is a oneness that's happening. And so to move us into our conversation about stage 4, we want to share with you, some of you may have already seen it, this is this amazing guy, we're gonna make sure we say it right, Eric Whittaker. He does these extraordinary global choir experiences, and this one is called Sing Gently, and we wanted to share it with you.
May
Sing gently as one. And I love that beautiful rendition. And the harmonies are rich, and there's this, whole enveloping. And so often when we talk about oneness, we often talk about, we're one with each other. But in this portal, and now we move into the stage 4, as me, it's not so much that we're one with each other, although that is true. It's that there is a oneness, and that oneness includes all of us. That we're actually a part, somehow we're that oneness showing up. And it is the oneness of our spiritual reality and our human reality at the same time. It's the oneness of the stages all coming together. My favorite way of describing stage 4 is stages 2 and 3, and all the portals are equally and fully available and running all of the time in an effortless flow. So for me, that means that we are directive when it's appropriate, and we're receptive when it's appropriate. We're in the flow, we speak our word, we say where we're going, and then it's effortless for us to allow and trust the universe to move through us. And we take responsibility for our word, and then we surrender to how it unfolds. Do you see? It's this perfect flow. And so I love this conversation I had with an artist at one point. And he was talking about how when he's painting, he speaks to the canvas. And my response was, and then you listen because the canvas speaks back. And I think that's precisely what's happening in our lives. We are speaking to the universe. We're speaking life into being. And then life speaks back to us. And it either gives us feedback or it speaks back to us through intuition, right? And there's this profound flow that happens that is like this interaction that happens with an artist and their art. Only we're the artist and our life is our art.
Yeah, it's these truly creative acts, these creative moments when we're in creative acts or, creative moments. We know this. It's like time stops. Mm-hmm. Time stands still. There is no time. It doesn't stand. It's just like timelessness. Mm-hmm. That's a way to know this. And some athletes feel that. Mm-hmm. All kinds. I mean, there's times, we talk about it all the times. There are times when, like, we're given a message and it's timelessness. And then it's like, who's speaking? Right? And it's this whole thing that we are consciously aware of everything that's going on. And it's, like you said, being in the flow. For me, that creative act and what comes out the most, and I've sort of been talking about this a little bit this month, is when I am doing the creative act of photography. I'm out in nature. I'm now a wildlife photographer, and so it's the nature and this creative act of being one with life, one with the camera, one with myself, and it's all as me. Mm-hmm. And just recently, I went out on my Friday and went out at sunset. And before I even got in the car, I knew that I was going to work on birds in flight. Like, that was what I was going to focus on. I wanted to work on birds when they're flying. And so I was very directive in that I chose, stage 2. I was very directive, and I chose what it was that I wanted to do. Birds in flight. And I got to the place that I like to go to, and I knew intuitively I'm going to this spot and I'm just going to get set up and I'm going to sit. And I just sat. And it was like the timelessness. I didn't get anxious. I didn't wonder. It was like timelessness. And I looked up, and there were 12 Mississippi kites flying over me. I was in awe. And so it was like life as me. Everything was in the flow, and it was like as me. And I was one with that moment with my camera and just being in awe of these Mississippi kites flying around. That's like an as me moment for
Absolutely.
me. Yeah.
Absolutely. So for me, that my walk into the as me experience and the as me state of consciousness truly has come through the lifetime of practice of spiritual mind treatment. Spiritual mind treatment is our form of affirmative prayer, and in the prayer, we remember this truth about the universe and about life, and we remember that we and it are the same. We identify ourselves as the universe, as us, and then we speak our truth. And so it's a receptive and then directive process. And a lifetime of that has shifted me. I mean, it used to be that when we would talk about these 4 stages of consciousness, people would say, oh, well, nobody's ever living in the 4th stage, unless it's Jesus or Buddha. And I began to go, wait a minute, that's not true. I have moments of that. Karen just described a beautiful moment of that. We all have moments of that. And every time that we do our spiritual work from the consciousness of spiritual truth, from the presence of the universal as us, we are in that state of consciousness. We're not the human trying to set up an image, knowing that the law is going to work it, doing the process so that we can get the end result we want, right? That we call that an argumentative treatment. We're building an argument about how it's so and how this all works, and so that we can relax into it and let it happen. In the realization treatment, when we're doing a spiritual mind treatment from that place of realization, we're speaking the word as the universal, as me, as us. And a lifetime of spiritual mind treatment has over and over and over and over again moved me into that place. So I know what it feels like, and I know when I'm not in it, because I so know what it feels like when I'm in that complete dance. Right? It feels like a total dance between the directive and receptive space that's happening.
You helped me recently too in my journey with spiritual mind treatment, and I know that it keeps changing for me, and you recently helped me a lot in that. One of the key phrases that I would say as I started the realization stage is I was like, by the power and the authority of the Christ consciousness, the one mind, I speak the word. And Petra really said, well, it's like you're needing this, quote, outside, one mind, Christ. As me, as Karen Fry, you have all the authority there is as me to speak the word. And I've been doing that since. And it has changed. So you've helped to move me into this as me.
Yeah.
By shifting how I speak spiritual mind treatments.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, and so what we don't want to do is pretend that we're in the as me state or in consciousness, and we don't want to force it, right? If you find that your language is I claim, I declare, I accept, it is mine, right? That's stage 2 language. I use it. I use it when I need it, when I feel like that's what I have to do. I have to take responsibility, and I have to speak that word. If you find yourself using the language of I accept, I allow, and the organically unfolding, right? These things are stage 3 consciousness. These words are, and we can use those words to help, as you said, shift us. But we don't want to be fooling ourselves, right? We don't want to be fooling ourselves that we're in stage 3 consciousness if we haven't mastered stage 2. And we don't want to be fooling ourselves that we're in stage 4 consciousness if we haven't mastered stage 3, because they are developmental and we take the skills with us. That doesn't mean we have to be perfectly in stage 4 all the time, right? Okay, maybe that's Jesus and Buddha, but we all peek in and we all move more and more and more into that. And when that moment comes where that shift takes place, and we're no longer talking about I am a part of the divine. I am uniting myself with God. I'm unifying. When we no longer say there's a part of me that thinks this and a part of me that thinks that. Well, there's a part of me that knows spiritual truth, but there's another part of me that's like, oh no, I'm so afraid. Do you see? We are not in that as me state. And so we have to use whichever one of the tools we've been talking about, really identifying where we are. But the as me state, really, Emerson says there's no bar or window where the individual stops and the universal starts, or he calls it the oversoul, where there's no bar or window. It's a complete continuum. It's the universe showing up as us. Ernest Holmes says this: in this act of transforming the energy into power for specific action, we are uniting an invisible essence with an invisible law, which is the way the universe operates. If we identify ourselves with the source, notice, not unify ourselves with the source, but identify ourselves with the source and perform the act, we may know that our word establishes eternal harmony, transforms everything, rearranges everything to our benefit and to the benefit of others. It is an act of complete surrender of the human to the divine without the loss of the human. Right? In stage 3, we surrender to the human to the divine, and we really focus on the divine. In stage 2, we really focus on the human, the divine indwelling the human. Right? Stage 3, it's like, oh wait, let's not forget about this transcendent mystery. But stage 4 is all of it, all at the same time. There is no a complete surrender of the human to the divine without the loss of the human. We might say it in the way that we say it today, that the universal is individualized within us, as us, without losing either the universal or the individuality. It is an act of complete inflowing of the divine into the human without the limitation, without the limitation of the divine, without limiting it in any way. Right? This is the ultimate paradox of the science of mind. It's not me and my higher self. It's not me and the divine seeking to somehow come together as if we were separate. It's a sense of separation.
It's the universal is us.
As us.
As us. It's the universal as us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that we don't have to unify ourselves with God.
Right.
It's the universal as us. And we are that place where the universe is expanding and expressing. And that's how important each of us are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the radical shift of transformation. Do you see? To stand in our spiritual truth, to start every sentence with the universe as me, blah, 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 as opposed to, well, I have to remember my spiritual truth. Do you see? When I start the sentence with I am me, or I'm starting from the human, looking to go to the divine. But when we know that it's the as me, there's no question that the universe as me is showing up. This is such a radical shift that we are as different from our previous selves as the caterpillar is from the butterfly.
Yeah. And so when we learn and when we know that life is living as us, for the purpose of life becoming more than it ever could be without us, then we truly, our come from place is life as me.
Yes. So remember that all of this is a developmental process. It's a journey. And we just like when we become adults, can't you be 12 again? In a heartbeat, right? And 6 and 2, right? We're in a heartbeat. So we can, in a heartbeat, be in stage 1 and have to climb our way back. Stages 2 and 3 and the portals become more and more and more accessible and available to us as we develop. Just as when we're an adult, we know more, we have more executive functions, more decision-making processes available to us, more intuition, all of those things than we had when we were a teenager, than we had when we were a kid. And so we bring all of it with us. But the goal isn't like, oh, I'm not spiritual until I'm in stage 4. That's not it at all. Because we're always in all of these, which is why we call them states and stages. It's the developmental stages, but that at any moment we're in any one of these states. What we want to do is to be consciously aware of where we're coming from, what we need in the moment, and what we can do in the moment to shift ourselves to stand in that spiritual living place, grounded and centered as we choose and want to be.
So know the universe as me, as you.
Yeah, and so it is.
So it is.
All right, you guys, we are super excited because this is the last week to sign up for home study group, because in October, it is all about prosperity. You do not want to miss out in this home study. So this is the last week to sign up. You can go on website to check it out or email Reverend Patty at revpatty@CSLDallas.org. Do not miss out on this.
And that's Rev Patty with an I. Oh, yes. All right. So I also want to invite you, the 1st of October, I'm starting a new class called Spiritual Fitness, and I'm very excited about it. You know, we have programs for our well-being, our physical fitness, all kinds, at all levels, food and exercise and all kinds of things. Spiritual fitness is very similar. How do we build ourselves an overarching program for our spiritual fitness? Join me October 1st.
And Reverend Marcia it was so popular and people loved it so much that we actually are bringing back Prosperity Plus 3. Oh my gosh, a powerful class that Reverend Marcia is teaching. It's Living the Full Spectrum Wealth Course, and that starts October 5th. And mark your calendars for October 11th. We have a guest speaker, Dr. Kathy Ann Lewis, a minister from Seattle. We chose her specifically, of all the ministers we know that can really punch it on prosperity and abundance, this is it. And she's doing a workshop on the afternoon of October 11th, and it is called Money, Mysticism, and Miracles in the Modern Age. And especially if you've been studying science of mind for a while, you want to be in this workshop, because she is going to take us, I'm in this workshop, she's going to take us deep.
Awesome. You guys, it's that time. You know what it is. We got the practitioners, our licensed spiritual coaches, ready for you on standby on Zoom for a breakout one-on-one session with your very own licensed practitioner for prayer work, to remind you of who you are when you forget. They got your back, to remind you the truth of who and what you are. So check them out. And per usual, we're going to sing it out. We're going to dance it out with One Big Family. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. joyful sound. Here we stand on holy